You were born without fear. You came into this world without a single worry. You learned fear later. It was put in you by scared parents, repeated by shaking voices, taught by a world that needs you to doubt yourself. Fear was never yours. It was given to you, and you took it as truth. But the moment you see that fear was planted in you, it starts to fade, because no shadow can stay when you finally see it. And in this message, I'll show you that fear is not something to fight, but something to understand. You will realize that fear is not a real enemy. It is only a shadow your mind creates. You will learn how to notice it, face it, and look through it until it fades away. I'll explain why fear appears, how the world keeps it alive, and how you can finally live without it. Not by becoming fearless, but by seeing the truth that fear was never yours to begin with. When you see fear for what it is, freedom naturally follows. You've been taught to move carefully, to stay safe, to avoid risks as if safety is life's biggest goal. You've been told not to make mistakes, not to stand out, not to feel too much. This non-stop caution has made you smaller and smaller, until even breathing feels risky. People call this being responsible. I call it being scared. You were trained to survive, not to live. And because everyone around you acts the same way, you assume fear is normal, but it's not. It's something learned, and whatever is learned can be unlearned. In this talk, we'll go deep into the roots of fear, where it starts, how it shapes you, and how awareness melts it. I'll show you why you hold on to fear even when it hurts, and why the mind needs it to feel in control. We'll look at how fear hides behind control, behind love, behind goals. You'll see fear is not a monster waiting in the dark. It's just a shadow born from confusion. And when you shine the light of understanding on it, it cannot stay. Stay with me. Because what you're about to learn is not how to run from fear, but how to wake up from it fully. Here's something most people never notice. Fear didn't start with you. You were not born shaken. You came into the world crying yes, but that wasn't fear. It was life rushing through you. A newborn knows nothing about danger, nothing about safety, nothing about the future. A baby doesn't know death. It only knows being alive. Fear arrives later, carried by people who love you but don't understand life themselves. They give it to you like a family heirloom, thinking they're keeping you safe, but what they hand over is their own trembling hearts. Think about it. As a small child, you reach for fire and your mother yells, "No." Her voice is sharp, her eyes full of panic, and in that moment, you learn to try two things. Not only that fire burns, but that fear is the correct reaction to life. Don't climb that tree, you'll fall. Don't talk to strangers, they could harm you. Don't fail. Don't cry. Don't be too loud. Every don't becomes a thread in a net of fear, woven not out of cruelty, but out of love mixed with confusion. The people who raised you were also raised in fear. They meant well, but good intentions don't stop fear from spreading. A child doesn't receive money or property first. He receives fear. Parents pass on what they carry. And because fear looks like caring, you never doubt it. You start believing that being careful means being safe, that obedience means survival, that shrinking yourself means being loved. And slowly, the wild river inside you gets blocked. What once moved freely becomes cautious, nervous, unsure of its own depth. But here's the sad part. What began as protection eventually becomes a cage. The same voice that once said, don't touch the fire, now says, don't risk, don't speak, don't dream beyond your limits. And you listen. Even though no one is warning you anymore, the world doesn't need to scare you. The voice is inside now. You become your own guard, protecting the walls meant to shield you. And society praises this obedience. Society calls this maturity. A frightened person is easy to handle. They buy what they are told, believe what they are told, and follow wherever they are pushed. A person without fear is dangerous because he cannot be controlled. That's why every institution, every religion, every system begins by making you scared. Scared of punishment, scared of failing, scared of being alone, scared of yourself. Because once fear enters, you stop listening to awareness and start obeying authority. This is how fear became the base of human society. Without it, governments would shake, priests would lose their influence, armies would have no recruits. Fear has always been the strongest leash, and the more frightened you are, the more respectable you appear, because the world has turned everything upside down. Cowardice is labeled wisdom, obedience is treated as goodness, and shaking is mistaken for intelligence. But look at the trees, look at the birds, look at the open sky. Do they live in fear? The tree doesn't worry if the storm will break it. The bird doesn't think the wind will abandon it. Existence itself has no fear, only humans do. Because humans think they are separate from life. Fear was born the moment you believed you were apart from everything, that you had something to lose. A wave cannot fear the ocean, but you were told you are not the ocean. That lie is the seed of all fear. So the question comes, if fear was given to you and not born inside you, can you return it? Can you unlearn something that was never yours? Yes. But first you must notice how attached you've become to it. How you've made it part of who you think you are. Because fear doesn't just sit in you, you keep it alive. You feed it every day with your thoughts, your worries, your imagination. And you call this being practical. Once you see that fear was planted, not natural, you can start loosening its grip. You can begin to remember how life felt before you were taught to shake. That innocence is still inside you, waiting. The child who wasn't scared of the dark is still there, just covered under layers of borrowed fear. And when you see this clearly, something inside you starts to move. The cage shakes. The prisoner begins to wake up. Now let's go deeper. You weren't only given fear, you were taught to feed it, protect it, and help it grow. You became the caretaker of the very thing that hurts you. Let's look at how that happens. How fear stays alive only because you keep giving it your attention. Here's something almost nobody understands. Fear is not real in a physical way. It has no weight, no body, no fire. It is made of thought. It exists only when you look at it. The moment you stop feeding it with attention, it fades from hunger. But since you were trained to escape fear, you never learned to see what it truly is. You've been running from your own shadow. And the more you run, the bigger it looks. Fear cannot live in the present moment. It survives only in the idea of tomorrow. Think about it. Have you ever felt fear in this exact second? Right now, in this very moment, fear has nowhere to stand. It is always about something that might happen. The mind builds a picture, a prediction. What if I fail? What if they reject me? What if I die? These what ifs are the fuel of fear. The more you think, the more it grows, because thinking itself belongs to past and future. Awareness, on the other hand, is outside of time. That's why in deep presence, fear fades like mist in sunlight. The mind survives because of fear. Without fear, the mind loses its grip. Have you noticed how when you are afraid, your thoughts explode? Endless scenarios, endless analysis, endless stories. Fear keeps the mind busy, and a busy mind cannot be conscious. The moment you stop thinking, even for a single breath, fear disappears, because fear cannot live without an audience. Fear needs you to claim its voice, to say, "This is my fear." But fear is not yours. It isn't your emotion. It is simply a movement of thought passing through the open sky of your being, like a dark cloud drifting across a bright sun. You are not scared of life itself. You are scared of losing control over it. That's the real root. Control creates the illusion of safety, and fear survives on that illusion. The mind says, if I control everything, the future, people, outcomes, I will never feel fear again. But that attempt to control is just fear wearing a mask. The more you try to hold life in place, the more it escapes your grip, and the more frightened you become. Life cannot be controlled. It can only be understood. And real understanding comes from awareness, not effort. Picture this. You're walking at dusk and you see a snake curled on the path. Terror hits you. But when you look closely, you realize it's only a rope. The fear disappears in an instant. Not because the rope changed, but because your misunderstanding did. The moment you saw the truth, fear lost all strength. That is exactly how fear works. The rope was never the issue. Your mind's projection was. Fear is always a misinterpretation, a shadow mistaken for something solid. The mind is like a movie screen. Fear is its favorite film. It projects danger where none exists and then convinces you the story is real. And because you've watched this movie since childhood, you've forgotten how to see life without the lens of fear. Whenever something feels unclear, you immediately take it as a threat. Silence becomes loneliness. A risk becomes failure. Change becomes death. You've forgotten that uncertainty isn't danger, it's freedom. Here's a small parable I often share. An actor once forgot he was on stage. He looked down at his costume, saw the fake blood from a staged wound, and began to scream. The audience laughed, thinking he was acting perfectly, not knowing he had truly forgotten who he was. The same thing happens to you. You become so attached to the drama of your mind that you mistake the stage for life, the script for truth, the fear for something personal. But the moment you remember that you are the actor, not the role, all the panic melts away. You see, fear is just a shadow that cannot survive in the light of awareness. Shine the light of seeing on it, and there is nowhere for it to hide. Close your eyes, and it appears huge and frightening. That's why awareness isn't just the remedy. It is the end of fear itself. So start observing fear. Don't analyze it. Don't fight it. Don't explain it. Just look at it directly. Notice what happens in your body when fear appears. Your breath grows shallow. Your shoulders stiffen. Your mind begins to race. Don't touch any of it. Just watch. Slowly, the observer and the fear begin to separate. You start to see, yes, fear is there, but it isn't you. It is simply a wave of energy moving through. When this seeing becomes deeper, fear turns transparent. You can look straight through it as if it was smoke. You may still feel its presence, but it no longer controls you. You can walk beside it, talk to it, even smile at it, because now you understand that fear depends on your attention. You do not depend on it. And when you finally see this clearly, that fear survives by using your own gaze, something beautiful happens. You stop fighting. You stop running. You turn toward it with softness, with curiosity. You say, "Come, show me what you are." And in that moment of clear seeing, fear must bow and vanish. Now that you understand how fear feeds on your attention, another question appears. If fear isn't yours, then who is the one that feels afraid? Who is this I that trembles when a thought rises? Is it real? Or is it just another shadow pretending to be you? Let's go deeper into this. What I'm about to tell you may sound unusual at first, because your whole life you've assumed the voice of fear was your own. You've carried this fear like a heartbeat, constant, unquestioned, woven so tightly into your thinking that it began to feel like your identity. But what if fear was never you? What if it was only an echo? The leftover vibration of a frightened world still ringing inside your mind. Once you start looking closely, you'll notice something important. Fear has always been something happening to you, not something that is you. It's like hearing thunder and believing it's your own voice. Fear feels personal only because you made it personal. You said, "I'm afraid." And in that moment of claiming it, you gave it a room in your inner home. You welcomed it in, made space for it, and called it your truth. Every time fear showed up, you said, "This is me," and so it stayed. But the watcher, the quiet awareness that sees fear, has never shaken. Have you noticed? Even in your worst moments, when your body trembles, your heart races, your breath tightens, there is still a part of you that remains calm, just witnessing. That is your true self, the clear sky beyond the storm. You think the voice of fear is your own inner voice, but it is only an echo from the past. It belongs to others, parents, priests, teachers, cultures, people who spoke from their own fear, their own confusion, their own unhealed pain. They said, "Be careful," and their fear entered you. They said, "Don't question," and their trembling became your obedience. They said, "The world is dangerous," and you stopped exploring. Every fear has a source. Every doubt has a history. And if you listen closely, you'll see that most of what scares you doesn't come from your own experience at all. It's borrowed language, inherited shaking, someone else's nightmare that still visits your mind. The ego loves to collect these voices. It feeds on identity. And fear is one of its favorite masks. It says, "I am scared. I am anxious. I am not enough." But the watcher sees even this. The watcher knows these are just words, small ripples on the surface. The observer doesn't need to calm the ripple. It only needs to be seen. The moment you can say, "There is fear, but it is not me," the illusion starts to break. The one who sees something cannot be the thing that is seen. Imagine standing in front of a mirror filled with dark clouds. You look at your reflection and say, "I am gloomy." But when you step back, you realize you are the clear sky behind the mirror. The clouds are passing. They have no power over the sky. The mirror reflects them, but the mirror itself never changes. That is what awareness does. It reflects fear, joy, desire, pain, everything, yet remains untouched. When you know yourself as the mirror, fear loses all control. Here's another image I love. You are walking at sunset, and your shadow stretches long across the ground. You see it move and mistake it for someone following you. You panic and start running. And the faster you run, the faster it seems to chase you. But the shadow is you. It cannot hurt you. It was only following your movement. Fear works exactly the same way. It is your own reflection, stretched and distorted by the light of thought. Once you turn toward the sun, the shadow falls behind. When you realize you are not the fear, but the one who notices it, something subtle but huge shifts inside you. A space appears between you and the mind. Your body may still feel the shaking, but now you watch it like ocean waves rising and falling, never touching the deep water below. That depth is your consciousness, and in that depth, fear cannot survive, because fear lives on movement, noise, and confusion. It cannot live in stillness. Practice watching whenever fear comes. Don't say, I am afraid. Say, fear is here. Feel the difference. One makes you the captive, the other makes you the witness. And as the witness grows, the captive fades away. You don't defeat fear, you grow beyond it. It's like a snake shedding its old skin. The layers of conditioning fall off and you walk lighter, freer, clearer. And this is only the beginning. Because once you realize you are not the fear, a new question wakes up inside you. Who are you? And what is this awareness that watches everything but is never touched by anything? Is it possible to live from that stillness? A life where fear comes and goes, like clouds drifting by, while the sky remains calm and untouched? Yes, and living from that center is what I call freedom. But the mind will try to take back its throne. It will whisper, without fear you'll become careless. Without control, you'll fall. Don't listen. These are the fading words of an illusion, losing its power. When awareness becomes steady, when you start living as the witness, fear no longer has anywhere to hide. The storm may still pass above, but you remain the sky. Now let's explore what happens when awareness becomes so deep, so constant, that fear cannot even brush against you. This is the state of the silent witness. The silent witness, the space where fear cannot enter, where storms dissolve before they form, where emotional waves rise and fall, but the ocean below stays completely still. Reaching this state doesn't mean fighting fear, nor defeating it. It simply means seeing it for what it is, a movement of the mind, passing through the vast space of consciousness, unable to touch what you truly are. Most people try to become fearless by resisting fear. They battle it, argue with it, push it down, and by doing so, they unknowingly keep it alive. Resistance is fear's oxygen. The moment you say, I must not be afraid, fear is already inside, but the witness doesn't resist. It observes. It allows fear to exist exactly as it is, shaking, raw, alive. And in that simple allowing, fear loses its strength. Real courage isn't the absence of fear. It's awareness shining even while fear is present. When you're conscious, even trembling feels beautiful. You can sense life moving through you. The same energy that once scared you begins to feel sacred. In awareness, fear becomes just another form of energy, no different from joy or excitement. The difference is in how you see it. Through the ego's eyes, fear feels heavy, suffocating, dangerous. Through the witness's eyes, it becomes see-through, almost weightless, like smoke rising and fading into air. Meditation is the bridge to becoming the witness. It is not a way to escape fear. It is the art of seeing it clearly. Sit quietly and let fear come. Don't call it. Don't push it away. Just sit there, alert, breathing, watching. Soon you'll notice something. Fear has a pattern. It arises, it peaks, it fades. It's a wave, and a wave cannot exist without the ocean beneath it. When you remain the ocean, the wave can't overwhelm you. It becomes part of your movement. People think meditation means stopping thoughts. That isn't meditation. That's forcing. Meditation means watching thoughts without being pulled into them. Thoughts can stay. Emotions can stay. Even fear can stay. But you are no longer tangled in them. You are sitting in the center of the storm, untouched by the wind. You can see how the mind creates stories, memories, future scenes, and you simply say, there's fear again. Just like noticing a bird fly across the sky. As awareness grows, your inner space grows with it. Suddenly there is room for everything: anger, joy, sadness, fear. And because there is space, nothing controls you anymore. Fear cannot suffocate you in a wide open sky. It can only do that in a tight, crowded mind. So whenever fear appears, widen your sky. Instead of closing in, open up, breathe deeper. Let your body soften. Allow the energy of fear to move through you, not as panic, but as pure sensation. Don't label it. Don't call it wrong. Just stay with it. The witness within you remains still, and that stillness begins to shine through every part of you. In that stillness, fear becomes unimportant. There is nothing to defeat because there is no fighter left. The warrior who battled fear finally sees there was never an enemy. He drops his sword, smiles, and the battle is over. When awareness stays unbroken, fear finds no opening. It may knock, but no one responds. It may whisper, but the house is empty. You're just presence, vast, silent, awake. Have you ever seen the sunrise after a long stormy night? The clouds pull apart. The sky turns cold, and the air feels newly created. You don't chase away the darkness. It leaves on its own. Awareness is like that sunrise. It doesn't fight fear. It simply reveals the light that was always there. The night fades not because you pushed it away, but because it never truly belonged to the sky. And in this state of witnessing, life changes completely. You start living with a calm no chaos can disturb. Fear loses its meaning. Death loses its bite. You move through the world as if gliding, steady yet free, grounded yet open. You act without tension. You feel without clinging. Everything moves through you: love, pain, joy, fear, and nothing leaves a mark. This is the beauty of the silent witness. It lives fully in the world, but never gets caught in it. Once you taste this awareness, even for one breath, you understand what real freedom means. It isn't about controlling life or protecting yourself from fear. It's realizing that nothing can touch who you truly are. The mind might shake, the body might age, circumstances might shift, but the witness stays the same, unchanged, untouched, eternal. You can lose every outer thing in life, but not this awareness. It was here before your birth, and it will remain after the body returns to dust. And now that you've seen how awareness dissolves fear by making it unnecessary, something amazing begins to happen. The same energy that once felt like fear starts to transform. What once trembled becomes light. What once tightened becomes open. What once felt like a cage becomes the very path. Let's step into that space now to see how fear itself becomes the doorway to freedom. This next part may sound impossible until you experience it. The very energy you called fear can become your greatest teacher, your most faithful companion on the journey to freedom. Because when fear is understood, it doesn't block you. It opens you. Every fear you have is not against you. It is for you. It shows you where you're still holding on, where you're still asleep, where you're still believing something untrue about yourself. Each fear is a doorway waiting for you to walk through. But since you were taught to run, you never saw the door, only the shadow it cast. Fear points straight to the place where awakening can happen. If you fear love, it means love is exactly where your freedom waits. If you fear failure, it means falling is what will free you from the false idea of success. Fear is not random. It is exact. It shows you the edge of your false identity. The mind wants to escape fear, but awareness uses fear like a lamp. Where fear appears, it is lighting the next truth ready to be seen. But you can only see this if you stop fighting fear. To fight fear is to feed it. To run from it is to repeat it. The only way past fear is through it, not around, not above, but right through its center. This is why I say transforming fear is not about bravery. It is about surrender. The brave man and the coward are not opposites. They are the same. Both are controlled by fear. The coward runs from it. The brave man hides it, but both are ruled by it. The man of awareness is different. He neither escapes nor hides. He lets fear exist. He walks beside it without resistance. And when you face fear fully, without your usual armor, its true nature appears. Under the shaking, under the racing heartbeat, under the tight breath, something vibrant is there, alive, warm, electric. That is not fear. That is life itself. The energy you call fear is just energy, neutral, pure, powerful. It only becomes fear when the mind gives it that name. Without the label, it is simply life moving through you strongly. When you allow this intensity without judging it, it turns into trust. In surrender, fear becomes trust. The more you allow, the more you realize existence is not against you. The river is not trying to drown you. It is trying to carry you home. Trust begins when you stop asking life for guarantees. You start to see that uncertainty is not your enemy. It is your freedom. When you cling to certainty, you remain small, tight, afraid. When you relax into uncertainty, something vast opens inside you, a quiet confidence that comes not from control, but from connection. You trust not because you know what will happen, but because you know who you are. The watcher, the witness, the unmoving silence beneath every movement. Let me tell you something beautiful. The caterpillar doesn't know that becoming a butterfly requires the death of its old form. Inside the cocoon, it only feels fear as it dissolves, not knowing that this death is transformation, not destruction. Every fear you face is a cocoon moment. You think you are dying, but you are only shedding the shell of who you used to be. Fear feels like death because it threatens the false self, and the false self must fade for truth to appear. That's why the mind trembles. It senses its own ending every time you move closer to awareness. But you, the real you, are not dying. You are waking up. Think of a diver standing at the edge of a cliff. His legs shake, his breath tightens, his heart pounds. But the moment he jumps, fear becomes freedom. The air that scared him becomes the air that lifts him. The fall he dreaded becomes flight. The energy didn't change, only his relationship to it did. This is the miracle of awareness. It turns poison into medicine, chains into wings, prisons into pathways. When you see fear as a doorway instead of a dead end, you start to live differently. You stop running from discomfort. You welcome it. You walk toward what scares you instead of away. Because you've learned that behind every trembling lies treasure. Each time you enter fear consciously, a layer of the false self dies and something bright is born. With every inner death, life becomes lighter, freer, more joyful. And in the deepest surrender, fear becomes love, because fear and love are the same energy moving in opposite directions. Fear is life-tightening. Love is life-opening. Fear says, I don't trust existence. Love says, I am existence. When you stop fighting fear, when you stop demanding certainty, you melt into the flow of life. And that melting is love. From love comes trust. From trust comes peace. And from peace comes freedom. Osho once said, go into your fear and you'll find the door of your courage. He was right. Courage doesn't come from defeating fear. It comes from walking so deeply into it that fear dissolves in the light of your awareness, leaving only clarity and strength behind. The prison of fears becomes the very path to your freedom. And when that happens, a calm enters you. Not the calm of someone who controls life, but the calm of someone who no longer needs to. You begin to live like a flowing river, moving easily around stones, trusting the current, never doubting where it leads. This serenity isn't something you achieve. It's what remains when fear's noise is gone. It is the natural rhythm of life aligned with existence. You carried it for ages, believing it belonged to you, but it never did. The moment you examine it closely, it disappears. And what remains is the same endless clarity that has been with you since before birth. That is freedom. Freedom that was never lost, only forgotten. Now you can move through life lightly. Fear may still whisper, but its voice will feel faint, empty, unreal. You will smile at it, not in defiance, but with compassion, because you will know fear was also part of the play, part of the divine game, meant to help you rediscover your courage. Without darkness, how would you notice the light? Without fear, how would you discover love? Without illusion, how could awakening happen? You have returned home to the sky that never left, to the silence that was never broken, to the being that was never afraid. You don't have to become fearless. You only have to remember who you are. In that remembering, everything falls away on its own. And what remains is the truth, clear, simple, infinite. And now, beloved one, we arrive at the silence beyond all words, the space within you that was never afraid, never shaken, never disturbed. The whole journey was only to bring you back here, to this quiet center, where nothing is missing, nothing is broken, nothing needs fixing. You came thinking you had to destroy fear, fight a battle, overcome darkness. But the truth is, fear was never the enemy. It was your guide. Every time you felt afraid, life was pointing you toward awareness. Every time you resisted, existence was whispering, look closer. The one who is afraid is not real. And now you see it. Fear was only a story the mind told itself, a dream it mistook for life. You were born fearless. A child doesn't know caution. It moves with the wind, touches fire, climbs trees, falls and laughs. That wildness was your natural state. The world only taught you to tremble. It taught you to hesitate, to doubt yourself, to calculate every step. It called that maturity. But maturity is not fear. True maturity is freedom. The ability to move through life with complete trust, no matter how uncertain the path. To live without fear doesn't mean never feeling it again. It means seeing it clearly for what it is. A shadow that cannot harm the light. Awareness is that light. And once you see this truth, fear can never return in the same way. Yes, it may still knock sometimes, but you will open the door smiling. You will welcome it, maybe even offer it tea, and it will disappear in your warmth. You won't resist it because you'll know that resistance is what once kept it alive. Fear can only exist where understanding is missing. In the light of consciousness, it dissolves instantly, like morning mist fading in the sun. Now you can live, not just survive. Live fully, deeply, boldly, beautifully. You can walk through the world without armor, without control, without pretending to be safe. You can dance even when the outcome is unclear. You can love without holding back. You can speak your truth without fearing judgment. You can face death without flinching, because you now know you are not the body, not the thoughts, not the trembling mind. You are the awareness in which all of these rise and fade. The infinite sky, where fear appears and vanishes like passing clouds. Remember this, you were never trapped, only dreaming of walls. You were never in danger, only believing you could be harmed. Life was never against you. It was your misunderstanding that made it look hostile. Now you see clearly. The lie falls apart and only truth remains. And what is that truth? That you are eternal, untouched, unbroken. You are not a drop lost in the ocean. You are the ocean pretending to be a drop. The moment you remember this, every illusion of fear disappears. So take this understanding with you. Not as an idea, but as a living presence. Carry it in your breath. Let it shape your walk, your words, your eyes. Live as the fearless space within. Let your silence be your strength, your stillness be your song. Let the world tremble if it must. You remain vast, like the sky. And from this stillness, another realization arises. When fear turns into trust, and trust turns into love, what remains is vast freedom. Not freedom from life, but freedom within life, a freedom that was always yours, hidden beneath the trembling. Let us move into that freedom now and see the sky that was always waiting behind the clouds. When the shaking settles and love replaces fear, something enormous opens inside you. A space so wide, so silent, that it feels like being reborn into a new dimension of existence. It isn't new. It has always been there. You are simply too focused on your shadows to notice it. This is the freedom beyond fear. Not freedom from something, but freedom as something. The sky does not run from the clouds. It just stays untouched by them. When you realize this, life changes forever. Fear may still show up, but it will arrive as a visitor, not as a ruler. You will meet its gaze and smile, because you'll know it is only passing through. Beyond fear, there is vastness, a spaciousness so endless the mind cannot hold it. It is the space of your true nature. When you rest there, nothing can disturb you, because you no longer cling to anything. There is no me left to defend, no other left to fear. You simply witness life unfolding, moment by moment, breath by breath. Everything becomes effortless. Choices arise naturally, without stress or calculation, because you stop living from thought and start living from trust. Even mistakes lose their sharpness. You understand that life isn't about being perfect. It's about being awake while it happens. Fear clouds your sight, but the sky of consciousness is never clouded. It only seems that way because you look from below. You mistake the passing darkness for something permanent. But once you rise above the clouds, the sun is always shining. That is enlightenment, not magic, not escape, but the simple seeing that you were never the storm. You were always the sky. The clouds were temporary guests here to pass, not to stay. In this space, wonder returns. The mind that once clung to control softens into innocence. Life becomes light again, spontaneous, surprising, free. You live like a child jumping into his father's arms. Complete trust, no hesitation, no doubt. The child never wonders if he'll be caught. He jumps because he knows. That is how existence catches you. When you let go fully, life supports you in ways the fearful mind could never imagine. This is what I call the flowering of being. You no longer react, you respond. You don't calculate, you flow. You don't just survive, you celebrate. The simplest things become extraordinary. The sound of the wind, the rhythm of your breath, the smile of a stranger. You no longer need meaning because you have discovered being, and being is enough. Freedom isn't found through control. Control is born from fear. The more you cling, the more you hurt. Because existence flows, and whatever flows cannot be held. Letting go is the highest intelligence, because it is the only movement that matches the rhythm of life. When you surrender to what is, resistance falls away, and what remains is peace. Look at the open sky again. Storms appear and disappear. Clouds gather and dissolve. Lightning flashes and fades. Yet the sky stays unchanged. It doesn't mourn the rain or celebrate the sun. It simply is. That is your true nature. Beyond movement, beyond emotion, beyond even thought, you are that open space of awareness. When you see this, fear cannot return. Because who would it threaten? There is no one left to guard, no one left to defend, no one left to lose. And so the circle completes itself. Fear was never yours. It was borrowed, a shadow pretending to be real, a cloud pretending to be the sky.